Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this. But this is a debrief for West Ham United 1, Spurs 1. This is a show where we see what the Hammers Chat subscribers are saying. You lot. So don't be shy. Get involved. You're watching live with me at 9 a.m. on a bank holiday. That's commitment. I appreciate you. But get your thoughts into the live chat. And you're watching this a little bit later on. Get your comments into the comment section below, because later this week I may do a video around everybody's comments, because I received some feedback, not criticism, feedback last week, and it was very politely done, which said, oh, could you maybe read out less comments and react to the comments you do read out, which I'm happy to do. It's a difficult show to balance because not everybody watches, so if I just clicked on comments, people only listening wouldn't see them all. So what I'll do this week is I'll just do as I normally do. But later on in the week, I will pick out comments and we'll have a little chat around what people are saying, and I'll give my reaction to those comments. So get involved. The show wouldn't be the show without you lot. And I'm going to turn to the live chat immediately. And Harry saying, Paqueta, what is going on, my friend? Scott saying, I really think it's time to acknowledge how poor Kilman is. There's so much better out there for the money that we paid. I think people have been acknowledging it, Scott. I think I can only speak for myself, but I wanted him dropped maybe, I don't know, a month ago. And I've noticed I always gauge opinion amongst the subscribers by the reaction to my opinions. That makes sense. So early on in the season, when I can't remember what video we were doing exactly, but I recall doing a video with Gonzo, and it was a tier list one. And when it came to Kilman, Gonzo rated him highly or said, yeah, whatever. I can't remember what it was. And I said, I'm not keen. I said, he's playing well at the minute, but I think this is as good as it gets, and it's only going to get worse. I said, I don't think he can sustain this good form throughout the season. And there was a lot of pushback. I got a lot of criticism, but it was my opinion because I've seen a lot of Kilman at Wolves. And I feel like now, if I was to say that, there's no pushback at all. So I think people's opinions regarding Kilman are changing. I think he's just going through a bad spell. I actually thought, 1 minute of football aside yesterday from him, I thought he went on to have a pretty solid game after his errors. But I think those mistakes have been on the horizon for a few weeks now. I think he's been out of form. Kilman has. Bob said, I used to be a fan, but after the last couple of seasons, I think West Ham has drained his enthusiasm and he's more of a mere spectator. That's sad. I'm hoping that come the summer, we can bring in a couple of exciting players so that when the pre-season comes round, and then hopefully we'll play some good football in pre-season, but hopefully the first game of the season, our enthusiasm's back. I think when everyone's had a break over the summer, and because there's no major tournament on, I know we've got the Club World Cup, but I don't think too many people will pay attention to that. But because there's no World Cup or Euros, I think people will have a break from football, especially in June, early July, before friendlies get underway. And I think that will give everybody a bit of enthusiasm for the new season. It'll make you miss West Ham, hopefully. We're in trouble if it doesn't. Steve said, I thought we showed plenty of aggression and got stuck in particular, the first half yesterday, but there was a woeful lack of quality. I was okay with what I seen in the first half. I was disappointed with the second half. Paul said this season has drained him of enthusiasm, struggling to even watch matches now, just about able to listen to the watch along yesterday. I think because of, we're finishing 17th, likely, it does have an impact. We're not playing for anything. I think that has an impact. If we were still in with a chance of relegation, I think people would still be tuning in every week because every game's a big game. But because we're not going down, we're not moving up, it's easy to switch off. Stuart thought the officials were woeful and seemed very partisan for Tottenham. I just thought they were very whistle happy. Michael Oliver just peeped for everything yesterday. David chose not to watch the game, and what he's heard and read, he didn't miss much. Never thought I'd get to a point in my life where I just had no energy to watch West Ham, but here we are. John saying Scarl's drop-off is poor. I wonder if he can play for the 21s. He can play, 3 o'clock kickoff. I was debating doing a watch-along, but we do a watch-along for the West Ham game. They're playing Man U. I was actually hoping to go to the game because it's only an hour's drive, but I don't drive, so I was relying on a lift. However, nobody wants to go. The Mrs. Gio would happily take me, but we can't get a babysitter, and I don't want to take a 5-month-old to the football yet. So yeah, I can't. I was hoping to go watch it live. Just it's only £3 entry, so I thought, yeah, I'll go, but can't get there. It's not accessible. Well, it is via public transport, but it would take about 3 hours via public transport. Hammer99 says, can't be underwhelmed when you expect so little from a blunt side like us. As soon as the season ends, the better. Can't beat Spurs' B team with their first choice 11. Shows how bad we really are. That's the thing, I think. Steve saying, can't remember the last time we came away feeling entertained and thinking we played well for most of the game, not just one half. West Iron saying Graham Potter's win rate is now 18.75%. Bloody hell, that's. Steve saying, he's subscribed to my other channel and I like it. Thank you, Steve. I will be doing a video this morning on the Premier League action from the weekend. Looking forward to it. I'm enjoying creating content over there. For those that don't know, I've got another YouTube channel called Tartan Geo. Links in the description below. We'll discuss football away from West Ham. So this week I'll be doing a Premier League review and then a video about a player potentially joining Man United or Newcastle United, and then we'll have our Premier League preview. Maybe another video depending how the week goes. Bob saying West Ham weren't terrible yesterday. I did see some nice interplay and quality passing, just looked void of belief. And also Major says Paqueta's definitely off with his reaction yesterday. Right, let's discuss that then. That's what I put in the title in the thumbnail because I couldn't really be bothered doing a title about sacking Potter or anything like that. Even though a lot of people still feel like that, but this is the statement. So Paqueta was obviously visibly in tears yesterday after picking up a yellow card. And last night, Paqueta's wife put up a statement on, I think it's Instagram, but this is the statement from Paqueta's wife. She said, I've never said anything here, and maybe I shouldn't have. My husband has a posture and strength that I admire, and that impresses me. We've been living this nightmare for 2 years, and he's always strong. He's always had it in his head that he would only defend himself at the right place and time. There's nothing against him. Have you never noticed that? Anyway, God knows everything, and only he knows why we are going through this. And only because of him are we well and living happily as a family. I just wish people would respect him. People are mean and unfair without knowing anything. Obviously, a post referring to the betting allegation, and it was tough to watch yesterday. You don't want to see anyone struggling, but he was struggling after picking up that booking, and I thought he had a good game. I know a lot of people disagree. That's fair enough, but it's not going to change my opinion. I enjoy watching Paqueta play football. I think under Potter he has improved compared to under Lopetegui. Was it his best game yesterday? No one's claiming that, but I thought he was doing all right. I like the fact that he tries to play the ball forward on most occasions. And when he got that booking, I thought it was a yellow card. I appreciate Mikey Moore jumped over him and didn't get contact, but to some extent that doesn't bother me because I think, well, what's the alternative? He just crashes into Paqueta and risks an injury. I've always sort of defended players, not diving, but I've always defended offensive players that get out of the way of an incoming challenge because I think I'll never get my head around those that expect players to just accept getting clattered into. Anyway, so Moore goes over him, Paqueta gets booed. It was about his fourth foul of the game as well. So I thought it was a yellow card. I've got no issues with that. But his reaction was concerning and it was very uncomfortable to witness. And you have to assume it's the whole betting case that's taken its toll on him. And obviously it's been adjourned since, when was it, March his hearing was? And then it was adjourned until June. So we've still got another month till we know the outcome. But he will know if it's going well or it's going bad. But the noises from the club seem to suggest they think it's going well because Paqueta's team brought in almost like a video analyst who showed clips of Paqueta where he didn't get a yellow card, but perhaps should have got a yellow card. And then brought in clips of other people doing similar fouls, saying, well, what are they being investigated? Then they brought in data to say that Paqueta's the sixth most booked player in the Premier League since Paqueta joined West Ham. So there was a lot of that side of it going on to defend Paqueta. So we'll find out in June. But I just thought yesterday it was hard to watch. It's not something you like to see. Major, no, he's not suspended. A lot of people have asked this. No, he picked up his think it was his 9th, possibly his 10th yellow card yesterday. It doesn't matter. At this stage of the season, you need to get 15 yellow cards to be suspended. And if you do somehow get 15, you miss 3 games. So if yesterday was his 15th, he'd missed the remainder of the season. But it was his 9th or 10th. So no, he's not suspended. He's available for the next 3 games. It's just, I hope he's all right. I know it sounds a little bit silly, but I hope he's fine. Right, before we turn back to the comments, I just want to pick up one thing that I was very impressed by Potter yesterday, because like I said, in the first half, I thought we played well. And tactically, out of possession, I think we were good yesterday. Now, I appreciate it was against an underwhelming Spurs side. The tempo to the game wasn't great, and it was Spurs' B team. I'm aware of all the context, hence why I was disappointed with the outcome. But it doesn't mean I wasn't impressed by how Potter set us up tactically to combat Spurs in possession. And I'll go into more detail on the player ratings. Now, if you're like one way to say in the next couple of minutes and think, oh, I want more of this, you can go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Links in the description below. We're doing the player ratings at 10:30 this morning. Now, there is a fee. However, if you've not used a trial, you can get a free trial. It'll give you 7 days of access to Patreon, and you don't have to pay a penny. Just make sure you cancel it in the next 6 days. Otherwise, you will automatically be charged. Don't know if it's the 7th day or the 8th day they automatically charge you, but you can get 6 days anyway for free. It's a 7-day free trial, it says, but I'm never sure when they charge you. So if you want a whole week of Patreon for free, no fee, go over there, sign up, do it. Everyone uses free trials. Don't treat us any differently. Get your free trial. And so this is how we set up out of possession very early on, and I've got other graphics for the player ratings. But my concern coming into this game was how we were going to stop Spurs' build-up, because the way that Spurs like to build up is having that single pivot. So this is Basuma behind Fulkrug there on the left-hand side of the screen. And the way that Spurs like to build up is using that single midfielder and then using the full-backs, and it's usually Spence or Udogie, who's the left-back, using the left-back as an inverted full-back. So he will go in there and make it a double pivot. Now, often James Maddison will drop deep as well to help out, but with him absent yesterday and Kulusevski was in there, he doesn't drop as deep. So it gave us a bit of an advantage, but I was intrigued to see how Potter was going to set up against this. And I thought he got it spot on. He put Fulkrug on Basuma, and Fulkrug just man-marked Basuma, stopped him getting the ball most occasions. When Basuma did get it, it was because of the way that the play was going. It was nothing he did wrong, but it completely prevented from Spurs being able to play it from the back. It was forcing them to go long. But not only that, how were we going to deal with Spence doing that inverted wing fullback side of things? Well, we were very aggressive. He put Wan-Bissaka on Spence, then he put Emerson on the other side, right up against Archie Gray. And Wan-Bissaka just followed Spence, and it meant that Todibo came out and took care of Tell over on the wing. And Spurs were just struggling. Whenever Spurs had the ball in these situations, they had no option other than just to go long and look for Richarlison. And Kilman, while committing 4 fouls, I thought by and large won most of his duels against Richarlison. So out of possession, I was very, very impressed by what Graham Potter did. I thought we completely nullified the way that Spurs like to build up, the way they like to play it from the back. On a few occasions, Vicario got the ball and he looked panicked. He was putting out for throw-ins or booting it down the pitch or whatever because he didn't look comfortable, because he had no option of playing out from the back. Every single player was man-marked. We had Bowen on Ben Davies, we had Cruz on Danso. Out of possession in the first half, I'm giving Potter a 10 out of 10. I thought tactically we got it bang on. I was even quite impressed, actually, when the build-up show, we were doing that and the team come out and Souček was there. I thought, I'm not sure about this, because for Souček to work, you need him in the box. And I thought, well, with him and Paqueta, he's not really going to get forward. Well, he was getting forward. Paqueta was the one that was sitting back. So I think he got a lot right. But my disappointment came in the second half, because I thought there was an opportunity there just to try and crank it up a little bit, got a bit more defensive. And there is a downside to that tactic, which was too many occasions I felt when we did win the ball back, Fulkrug was just way too deep. He was way, way too deep. He was playing as a number 10 yesterday, essentially, Fulkrug. And I think out of possession, brilliant. In possession, I think it completely not killed him, but it removed him from spearheading our attacks, which is not ideal when your striker's doing that. But anyway, that's the that's my thoughts anyway. Feel free to disagree. Right, back to the live chat and see what yous are all saying. Steve saying, been saying all season, Souček should not be in the side. Yes, he scored important goals, but like yesterday, too many games passing by. He's not the answer. I thought he did all right yesterday. Melbourne, my first game for 10 years. Didn't think we were that bad, but a team playing without belief or confidence. No will to win. Roger, well played, Creswell, our best centre-back in a back three. And Wan-Bissaka, rest of them dire. They have no idea how to build attacks and progress the ball up the pitch. This is the worst West Ham team to watch in my life. Well, I wouldn't go that far. I don't think it's as bad as the Avram Grant team, that's for sure. Mark saying he always misses the first few seconds of our live videos because of adverts. Apologies, I've got to put adverts on. This is my job. If I could earn no money from this video, so obviously the user's experience would be no adverts. Brilliant, yeah. But I'd earn no revenue, and well, that'd be like a shop opening up and letting people the first half an hour of customers come in and just take what you want and leave. It's bad for business. So unfortunately, I've got to put adverts on, Mark, but I appreciate it. It's frustrating. So apologies. I don't feel as much I can do. Well, there is. I could just not do this as my job and do it as a hobby, but I like doing it as my job. Hammer99 says, we have to keep Creswell for next season. His leadership is so important, and his tackle 4 minutes in set the tone. Organise the defence well, takes a wicked set piece, still has legs in it. I thought he had a really good game. That tackle in the 4th minute, he got away with it. I thought that was a foul because he just his left leg doesn't hit the ball. It hits Kulusevski, but his trailing leg hits the ball. But it was good. We needed more of that. I thought when that went in, I thought brilliant. We're up for this. Not so much. Ben said Paqueta is awful. Passes the ball to other teams so much. Only assist was 3 in one game in the last 2 seasons. He's not very good. Andrew says we're going to be involved in a relegation battle next season. Our decline over the last 4 seasons is finally catching up to us. Nick sat in a pub with 2 Spurs fans and we didn't even mention the football. Their fans seem as bored with their team as ours. I can understand why. Keith saying, need a clear out from top to bottom. At board level, Sullivan and Brady either to go or take a back seat. I'd like Noble to be moved to head of youth development. I think that is Noble's job, Keith. I think he's just got a sporting director as his job title, but I think he's head of the youth development. Ryan saying, I'm so disheartened in West Ham at the moment. I try to be optimistic, but it's hard. I just want the season to be over with. At least I'll get a break from West Ham next week as going to New York. Love that. Enjoy yourself. Hope you have a lovely trip. Paul saying Potter has the worst points per game of any manager in the history of West Ham. Difficult why there would be confidence of anything drastic. I guess the one thing I could say, I'm not saying I believe this, but this is just the devil's advocate here. David Moyes, in his second spell, David Moyes was one defeat. I think it might have been 1 game, so if he didn't win, but certainly 1 defeat away. Well, it was a win percentage, wasn't it? So even if he drew, he was 1 game away from becoming our worst ever manager in history in terms of points per game. But we won that game and then just carried on winning, really. But my point is, Moyes was... That stat is correct at present, Paul, but it could change. Until he leaves, we don't know the final score on the door, if that makes sense. Anyway, apologies for me opening up, but A, I'm thirsty, and B, I hate the bloody lids like that, so it takes me a minute. Tobe says Kilman was poor and he could have easily got 2 yellows. Kudus was much better, so I'm trying both ends. I thought we'd lose yesterday, so I'll definitely take the point. Peter saying, I'm realizing our team is in a bad mess. People are saying Kilman isn't very good. He's one of our best players in his mind. I think he's been all right over the season. Keith would like to see Casey, Orford, Earthy, Marshall, and Potts promoted first team. Scarl's already been part of it. Well, we should say congratulations, shouldn't we? George Earthy, Bristol City's young player of the season. Kyle Marshall won the Blue and White Members Player of the Season at Huddersfield Town. And then we got Terry on loan at Hornchurch. He won the Members Player of the Season as well. So there's a lot of youngsters had good loan spells. And while Potts didn't pick up an award, there's a video going around. I'm just going to assume you've seen it, but if you haven't, it's just a Portsmouth fans singing "One More Year" Freddie Potts to him, and he's wrote a nice message on social media and received a lot of love from Pompey fans. Richard went to the game, won't be wasting more money on train tickets for the Forest game. An entire season of rubbish, zero to cheer about. West Iron says, I always say look at the data. Data says relegation. Any promoted team is decent next season. Do I say that? I didn't realize I said that. I probably do. I do look at it, but I believe it. I'll try and keep it away from YouTube. Obviously, not doing a very good job at that. David said it amazes him that Guilherme never got any minutes. Yeah, that Potter clearly not a believer, which makes not selling him when we had an opportunity to do so in January baffling. Yeah, I was frustrated he didn't come on. I was frustrated. I was wanting to see an injection of someone being direct, a bit of pace, someone that wasn't afraid to try and take players on and make something happen. I think we were almost too timid against Spurs yesterday on occasions. And we've got a lot of individually good players, but there's not much individual brilliance happening, and it's frustrating. And when Guilherme is taken to the field in previous games, I feel like he comes on and he's just brave. He doesn't have that fear in him or that play it safe first mentality. He's willing to try and make something happen. And I think we were just screaming out for a bit of that yesterday, something to get the fans on their feet and give them something to enjoy. Also give Spurs defense something to worry about. We just didn't have it. John said Alvarez should be playing. We all know he is going, but not playing him only demonstrates we have to sell him and drops his transfer value. Well, people say that. I don't subscribe to that idea. I'm aware I say that phrase, John, because if he was playing and playing poorly, I would argue that harms his transfer value more than not playing. I think if we want to sell him and we don't play him, the world knows Alvarez is up for sale, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with selling our entire midfield. But I appreciate what you're saying, but I just think there's the other side of the coin, which is, well, I would argue the players at the minute that are playing, their values are also depreciating. Is Caduce's value depreciating the more he plays? I would suggest so. Marky saying, wish people would stop with the narrative. It's 3 at the back. It's 5. 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs. Well, no, I'm going to keep calling it 3 at the back, Marky, because that's how I see it. You can call it 5 at the back if you want, but I've always called it 3 at the back. You've literally just said there, it's 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs. Exactly. 3. You've just said, stop calling 3 at the back, and then you've said, it's 3 centre-backs. And you might class wing-backs as defenders. That's okay, but I do not. I class them as wing-backs. If you were to draw the formation out on a bit of paper, they're in line with the defensive midfielders, not with the centre-backs, in my opinion. So, unfortunately, Marky, you're not going to get your wish on this channel. I'm going to continue saying it's 3 at the back, and there's no narrative. It's just something I've done in my entire life. So we played 3 at the back under Moyes or Lopetegui or Pellegrini or Stanvich. I would still call it 3 at the back rather than 5 at the back. I don't pick and choose. I have noticed, though, that some people will call it 3 at the back if they like the manager and 5 at the back if they don't like the manager. Not saying you do, Mark, but yeah. Stop calling it 3 at the back. It's 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs. Yeah, no, 3 at the back. Paul saying, I'm dreading next season. The way things are going, I feel like we're heading for a car crash. I do not disagree. Terry can't understand why Paqueta gets so much stick. We should all know by now he's a great player in the right setup. I think he suffers the most with the way we play. Andrew saw yesterday, the only thing he's seen was more of the same slow, sideways, backwards, and predictable football. And guys are saying the fans have had enough. Did you see all the empty seats? And it was against Spurs, our cup final, not. And loads leaving with 10 minutes to go. The fans leaving at 11. Oh, at 1-1, sorry. Fans leaving at 1-1. We have had enough. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't blame them at all. Darren asking if light's going out. Yeah, the sun keeps going in and out of the cloud outside, so the light in the room keeps going up and down, which is making me have to turn it up and down. But I apologize. I've always said if somebody's like a like a lighting technician is able to come around and to set my room up so it's got perfect lighting at all times, I'd appreciate that. I'd appreciate it. Chris is saying we have half a team that should have finished around halfway with Lopetegui. I think we would have. Potter is a mess. Damien saying I'm wrong. Potter is devaluing Alvarez. I didn't say he wasn't being devalued. I was just saying it's just my opinion, really. The thing is, we're not going to prove it. You can't prove you're right, and I can't prove I'm right. We can agree to disagree, and that's what we're going to have to do here. Toby says, Potter seems to be allergic to playing youth. I really hope that's not the case next season. I want to see Orford, Potts, and Earthy. We need to invest more in our academy. It's nowhere near our something or other. Matt saying, I'm late in, sorry. I know I'm not allowed to say this. You can say what you want. But how sloppy was Suchek yesterday? Most passes and tackles were even more clumsy than ever. You can say what you wish, Matt. Chris is saying Potter in the press conference said we attacked too fast. I'll be honest with you, I haven't tuned into it because I thought A, I'll probably see it anyway somewhere, and B, there's nothing he can say that's I'm going to enjoy at present. He could say we were terrible, blah blah blah, and it would mean nothing to me. He could say we were unlucky, it would mean nothing to me. So there was almost like no benefit to me listening to that press conference. Now, I may listen to it today or tomorrow because I want to know what he said. But I tend to try not listen to it after the match because I guess that's when you're emotionally at your highest, good or bad. When we win, if we're having a good season or whatever, I can't get enough of it. I'm like, give me all this positive stuff. But when I'm feeling a bit... I say grumpy. I wasn't grumpy yesterday. I wasn't bothered. I was disappointed, but I wasn't angry or anything. But I don't really want to hear someone speak. I feel like it's going to wind me up. I was okay with being just meh after yesterday's game. So I went and watched the Chelsea-Liverpool game and then went for a walk in the evening with the girls. That's what I did. Right, a few more questions, comments. Spirim says, at this moment in time, looking at things objectively, it's hard to see anything past a relegation battle, regardless of any team rebuild. Chris is saying Ward-Prowse would be better as a wing-back, but Xhaka behind him could do all his running. Ward-Prowse would find Füllkrug's head. The problem is Füllkrug wasn't getting in the box too much yesterday. Soma says, one of my main worries is that due to how bad we are, any player we sign will have a tougher job to look good. I always said I'm not sure that if Lewis scores 15 goals in this team. Finn saying it was the worst London derby atmosphere he's experienced. It's pathetic. Such an easy decision not to renew. Yeah, I've got a few friends not renewing their season ticket. I understand why. I completely get it. When they tell me, I don't have to say, oh, why is that? When they tell me, I was like, yeah. Fair enough. Anyway, right. Apologies for the lighting and whatever. Toby said, watch the Chelsea game yesterday. Chalobah was superb. Should definitely be a target. I wanted him last summer. People will always say you wanted Danny Ings, but they always ignore the fact that I wanted Alexander Isak and Ollie Watkins. And last summer, the two players I picked out was Chalobah and Duran. I think had we signed those two players, and they were both on the move, albeit Chalobah was recalled, but Duran's left Aston Villa. Chalobah did initially leave Chelsea. I think they would have made a significant and positive difference to our season. And I think those are the types of players that, even if Lopetegui failed, would have worked under the next manager just because of the profile of player as well. Unlike certain other players who were brought in for Lopetegui, and they don't appear to be working out under Graham Potter. So we've sacked the manager, and now we're going to have to offload the players at a huge financial cost. And I'm sure the club will look at it and go, well, we've had to pay out this much compensation for Lopetegui and this much money to get Macaulay in. But what they're not doing and what they should be doing is looking at the transfers, going, bloody hell, now we're going to have to sell this player and this player. And they'll blame Tim Steidem for that. But actually, well, Steidem's getting the players that the manager wanted. I think the issue was the manager that we appointed. Anyway, we go into the summer and probably a way to make the same mistakes once again. Right, I'm off skis. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't be shy in the comments below. Even if you've been watching this live, stick around for a minute, let the video process, and get your comments into the comments below so we can do a video during the week. Well, reading more comments out, but it'll be a bit more of an interactive one. 10 comments, 10 minutes, something like that. But thank you very much for joining me. Please do drop a like on this video before you disappear. Subscribe to Hammers Chat. I'll be live at 10:30 over on Patreon. McGons are doing the player ratings because I've got more images to pull up regarding Potter's tactical plan. And if it worked, did Bissouma have less involvement in the game, which was the intention from Potter? I've got evidence to say yay or nay. And if you fancy subscribing to my own YouTube channel, Tartan Geo, please do. There'll be a video up there this morning, a review of the Premier League. Right, thank you. Love you all. Catch you in a bit. Ta-da!